Warning. This podcast may contain spoilers from whatever TV show or movie is mentioned. Please listen at your own discretion. Welcome to Viewers Anonymous.
Yo, what's going on? I am Scoots Bronson.
And I am S. Foster.
That's right. And you tune into another episode of the Viewers Anonymous podcast where we give you our very own reviews and takes of movies and TV straight out of Hollywood. What's up with you, bro?
Man, I'm good, bro. You know what I mean? I'll let the fans know a little later, but got some good news. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm riding a good high at the moment. So, I'm doing pretty good, man. Just, getting my ass whooped at work, but it be like that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But how you feeling though, man?
Man, feeling great, man. Feeling great. Like I told you off air, man, I finally jumped back into playing FIFA, so I've been on that going crazy. Been working like crazy, trying to get this money, you know what I'm saying, while I got time with the summer, so just enjoying life, bro.
That's what's up, man. Good news, man. That's what we all trying to do. At least, you know what I'm saying, enjoy life.
Absolutely. So today is interesting show. It's gonna be an interesting show, man. Today we are covering the Amazon Prime original series, Them, seasons 1 and 2. Released 2021, directed by Little Marvin. This is an anthology series that centers around the Emery family and basically their move from the rural South to suburban California, and dealing with some of the traumas that they dealt with, and some supernatural trauma that they dealt with as well. And then season 2 deals with their lineage. I believe it's in the 80s, 90s.
No, 91. Because remember Rodney King? The Rodney King thing was all over the place.
90s.
Well, they went back to 89, but and then they went back to the 70s when her and Edmund was kids.
Yeah. So
to refresh her memory because she forgot.
Yep. So this is a very polarizing show, to say the least. But it is starring Deborah. I'm about to get us a shot.
Deborah, because I'm not.
Deborah Ayerinde, Ashley Thomas, Shahidi Wright Joseph, Allison Peel, Luke James, Pam Grier, Wayne Knight is in this, Amon Shumpert is in this as well, a host of other people. It's a lot of people in this show. And like I said, it was directed by, Craig William McNeil, but the writer and the creator is Little Marvin. My apologies. So, like I said, it's an anthology series, and I'm not sure how people feel about them, but me personally, I like the anthology series because it's always a refresher on the show, right? Especially when you got multiple seasons. So we've covered an anthology series before with Black Mirror. What was the one? The Horror House or something like that, 1974 or something like that.
Oh no, Fear Street.
Fear Street was an anthology series. So this is something that we've done before. This isn't nothing new. Some of the best shows out have been, anthology series. Some of the best movies out have kind of been that way as well. So yeah, I believe this is your first time watching this, right?
Well, this season I've seen
the first season.
Yeah, I've seen the first season.
So you've seen the second season for the first time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So how did you feel about this whole, this whole show?
This whole show as a whole is pretty dope because anytime you take a black family and you add some horror, some supernatural stuff like that, it's always a different view because a lot of those type films you know, for the most part, were made with, you know, mostly a white cast.
Yeah.
You know, it may be some things that, you know, we would do different culturally in certain situations. And I think that the way they did this show, I love how they made the full circle, because I haven't watched the first season since it came out in 2021. So, you know, it wasn't as fresh in my mind. So I really didn't kind of understand what was kind of really going on, or what the connection was. Because I kind of thought that it was more like I thought it was kind of more like we just did it, True Detective. You know what I'm saying? Because True Detective is like it's a totally different cast, totally different everything. But in the last one that just came out, they were tying some things to the first season, right? So I didn't know that there was a connection between this season and the first season, until they tied it together at the end, where they brought the daughter from the first season, where she gave her babies up.
Yeah, that was Ruby Lee.
Yeah, and I was like, wow. Yeah. Now I see the whole connection.
Yeah,
that was her and Edmund's grandparents that went through the grown people that was in the first season. So I was like, wow, I love how they tied that together. But this it's a very slept on show, which I love when we do those. I like doing the popular stuff as well, but I also like to shine light on stuff that isn't as popular. But I don't know if you ever had a chance to see it, but what this season did give me vibes for, especially the way that it did it, with Edmund wanting to be an actor and Edmund kind of going through the issues that he was going through throughout this show. It reminded me so much of Swarm. Did you ever get a chance to watch Swarm?
I started it, but I didn't really get into it. But I kind of got into it a little bit. Yeah,
it kind of gave me like those vibes. You know what I'm saying? It felt very, very similar. But not overall, man. I enjoyed it.
Wait. I'm sorry. Swarm is with
Dominique Fishback.
Oh yeah. I did watch that.
Yeah, it was Donald Glover and his brother. Like she
was the super fan.
Yeah. Okay. But they was trying to say it was kind of based on
Beyonce
like
shit.
Beyonce. Yeah. So yeah, it kind of.
I definitely watched it now because I know Chloe was getting her cheeks beat in for sure.
Yes. Of course, you remember that part of the whole damn show.
Shit. This ages for that one,
Man, this girl is going around fucking killing. She's a super fan going around killing people for saying negative shit, and you just remember, oh yeah, Chloe's gonna cheat.
What are you talking about? That's like a Meg Thee Stallion or like Cardi B was in the movie or show, and like they getting beat down. Yeah.
For sure. Buddy, you was a fool, buddy.
Best scene of the show.
But man, what was your thoughts, man?
So the first time I watched season 1, because I actually recently had went back and watched it before season 2 even came out. First time I watched season 1, I was hearing a lot of and that's why I said it was polarizing, because I was hearing a lot of negative comments about it. And I was like, yo, what is this show everybody keep talking about that, you know what I'm saying, they sick and tired of and all this other shit. I go and watch it, and like after episode 2, I was hooked in. You know what I'm saying? I'm hooked in. And you already know, like, this is right, especially season 1. That was like right in my lane of the type of stuff that I watch anyway. And so watching season 1, I was like, okay, this is cool. And then I enjoyed the fact that they had threw in the one episode where it took you all the way back to the beginning and the origins of what was happening with the house and the reason that, you know what I'm saying, the stuff was going on. I was like, that was a great addition, because they pretty much gave you all backstory. You didn't need nothing else. Like, you understood everything that was going on. It wasn't no, you know what I'm saying, flips and turns about, it wasn't no confusion after that. It pretty much gave you everything you needed to know, and then it finished off the season. in a great way. So I was like, that was exactly what needed to be done. And then this one I thought was super interesting. First and foremost, season 2. Shout out to Luke James. You know what I'm saying? I know that he is, you know what I'm saying?
He's killing it on the shot.
Yeah, he's a great actor in his good. I don't want to say great yet because he still got some work.
Not yet. Yeah,
but a good actor in his own right, but a hell of an R&B artist first and foremost. Now I will say that he's a great R&B. That motherfucker can put a song together easily. But I'm so used to hearing him singing and, you know what I'm saying, doing songs. And I know he was in the New Edition joint and all that type of stuff. So seeing him in this was very interesting because I like to see when people are pulled out of their element, you know what I'm saying, pulled out of their comfort zone and put into certain roles to see, you know what I'm saying, how well they do. Another shout out to Iman Shumpert. Even though he didn't have a lot of screen time, I still think he did what needed to be done. You know what I'm saying? I know he's been doing some acting as well too. So that was good to see him doing something there too. So I appreciated those two guys for that. But I mean, the cast did a hell of a job. You know what I'm saying? They really showed up for this. And this is something that's out of the woodworks because I think around this time, this was when Jordan Peele was popping. Like he was getting all his shit off with Get Out and Us, and you know what I'm saying, he was coming out with these things. And I think this was like a nice little renaissance of black horror stories that we were starting to get, right? And then like you said, you know, with Swarm coming up, with Donald Glover being able to do these things. So like that horror thriller genre, we starting to see a lot more of those stories. I know it's a few of them on Hulu, you know what I'm saying, that's out there right now that we're starting to get with I think it's like the Girl and Her Monster or something like that, which I kind of started, but it started off pretty good. So I was super excited to watch this. The first season, like I said, I was plugged in after the second episode, bro. I was like, yo, this shit is amazing. I've never seen anything like it. And then to add in that supernatural element into it made it that much more, you know what I'm saying, good, because it's so much that this family is already dealing with. To then add that on top of it is like, God damn, like they going through some shit. But what I do appreciate about this series is the fact that they brought in the element of family trauma, right? They especially with it being like a supernatural thing, they brought in this element of family trauma that I think a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, especially in horror movies and stuff like that, isn't really addressed. Like if you watch I don't know, like maybe Halloween or Friday the 13th, that's something where it's kind of addressed, but it's not really, right? Like Michael Myers goes around killing motherfuckers because of his sisters and shit. He ain't like his sisters or whatever. Or, you know what I'm saying, Jason came back from hell to, you know what I'm saying, or came back from the dead to kill, you know what I'm saying, camp counselors and shit because, you know what I'm saying, his mom went around doing it, then they killed his mom, and then they killed him too. So he was getting his revenge. So like shit like that is pretty dope to add in certain elements. So I felt like it had a nice little old school touch to it, but then it brought it right back around with a modern touch of, you know what I'm saying, the supernatural element, adding in certain aspects of race and all of these other things on top of it, and even bringing in some historical stuff too, which that's what they did in the first season which I thought was pretty dope. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's break down season 1. Let's get into that. Where would you like to start, brother?
Oh man, if you're going season 1, you're gonna have to break that down. Like it's been some years.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
We
so
talking 3 years ago.
Yeah,
because I didn't have a chance. I didn't have a chance to go back to watch the first one.
Okay.
But
okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess you could give like a huge synopsis to kind of like, you know what I'm saying, to get the people to understand like how the first season ties into the second season.
That's perfect. Let's do it. So season 1, it starts off with the Emery family. They live in the South, and you know, it's one of those days where, you know, pretty much the dad, it's a family of 5. The dad is taking the daughters out to go to the movies. The mom is sitting at home with the baby, you know what I'm saying, chilling, enjoying the day. And once the dad leaves, some people come through and kind of do a home invasion type thing, and they end up murdering the baby of the family. The dad and everybody, the dad and the daughters come back, and they're trying to figure out what happened, why the baby's dead. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much due to it being in the South, they said, "Well, fuck it, we can't keep living like this. We got to leave." So they leave, and this is where one of the historical elements pop in, is because this covers the Black migration from the South to the Midwest to the East Coast and to the West. And them going to California was super important to me because we really don't hear a lot about the Black migration to the West, right? We don't really get a chance to learn about that as much as we've had the Midwest, specifically for me, and then the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was interesting. And they end up moving to Compton, California, which at the time is an all-white neighborhood.
White.
Yeah, majority white neighborhood, which I thought was interesting because, you know what I'm saying, once again, that's a true thing as well. So they move into a house in Compton, and they live in the house, but unfortunately the house that they live in and the neighborhood that they live in don't necessarily agree with them. Once they move into the house, you know, the community surrounding them is like, yo, this shit is not gonna happen. We don't want them in our neighborhood. They're gonna bring down the house values, blah blah blah, all the typical racial shit. And after a while, things start happening in the house that is pretty unexplainable. So not only are they dealing with the racial aspect of the neighborhood, they're also dealing with some spooky shit inside the house that they really don't get yet. The father was ex-military. I believe he was a war vet. He was going to work for some company where it was like that he was doing like engineering or something like that. So not only, you know what I'm saying, not only is he trying to take care of his family, not only do he got to deal with the shit that's going on in the neighborhood, now he's dealing with some spooky shit. Then he got to go to work and pretty much, you know what I'm saying, be put on the back burner because he's a black engineer. So he got to deal with that shit too. And then, you know what I'm saying, a whole bunch of supernatural shit get to happen. Still some whole bunch of racist shit happen in the neighborhood. And then they go to this one episode where it pretty much describes the whole supernatural element. And I think that's where I really want to pinpoint, right? So it's a story about, I think it was Jedediah or Jebediah, one of them old ass biblical names. And it was about this man who was pretty much trying to live as righteous as possible. And he was pretty much like the town fool, basically, because everybody around the town was like, man, ain't nobody fucking with you. You keep talking about you hearing the word from God and all this other shit, and we ain't listening to you. You ain't the chosen one. And he comes across this young boy who is pretty much lost out in the wilderness. And he helps the young boy, takes the young boy in, and he pretty much does his part to raise this young boy to also live as much of a righteous life as he's living. And in the midst of all of this, a black couple is pretty much found broke down. Their carriage, or I forgot what you call it, but their carriage is broke down. And you know what I'm saying, the husband is trying to fix the wheel, and they're like, well, we'll help you out. And he's like, nah, you ain't gotta do that. They're like, nah, that's what we're supposed to do. We're Christians and all this other stuff. So they eventually helped them out. But then, you know what I'm saying, they're trying to do their part in the community as well. So they helping with the sowing and the farming, and then the husband is helping them find the water source, and then they end up building a well. And then basically what ends up happening is they pretty much turn their back on the black couple. The woman was pregnant at the time as well. So they end up turning their back on them. And then they end up killing them in the church house. And the church house catch fire, burned down. Jebediah goes to the basement to try to save himself, only to find out that the little boy the whole time was the devil. And he ended up making a deal with the devil. And then it pans into modern, or at the time, what was the modern day house, which was the house that the Emerys end up living in. So you find out that the community that they in was basically Compton before it became Compton and shit. Like the settlers went over there and kind of built the community. And so that helps you kind of explain what's going on as far as the ghost and the, you know what I'm saying, the people seeing stuff, the little girl seeing the lady in her book, and you know what I'm saying, the dad seeing shit and all that. And then they basically end up defeating the ghost. And then they end up leaving the neighborhood. I mean, leaving the house. And that was the end of season 1. So season 1, like I know you said, you know what I'm saying, it's been 3 years, but hopefully some of that kind of sparks some memories. Is there anything that you remember specifically that, you know what I'm saying, we can kind of get into? If not, so we can just go ahead and talk about season 2.
Yeah, we can just go ahead and get season 2 because,
Okay,
like I said,
okay, cool.
it's. Oof, I done seen so much since then, man.
Yeah,
I mean, some
know.
of it look like when you were describing the part where the husband was going to work and being treated a certain way as an engineer at work, and like that part was coming to me, but then it was just like, you know what I mean. So I remember that part vividly, but like the rest of it is kind of faded.
Yeah.
But I do remember faces and things like that. That's how I was like when I saw.
Mm-hmm.
She was a young girl in that, and then she had the twins, and she handed the babies off because she was just like, you know, there's some stuff in my past that I don't want to be passed down to them, but I guess it was just in their heritage for that shit to still be passed down to them anyway, even though they were, you know what I'm saying, given up for adoption. So
absolutely.
So yeah.
So the real quick before we do that though, the one thing, because you talked about the dad, the one thing I found interesting about the dad was the fact that him being in war and then coming home was something that he had to, you know what I'm saying, technically deal with, right? Like he had to adjust back into civilian life after dealing with everything that he dealt with at the time, and all the stuff that he's seen and all the stuff that they were putting those guys through, you know what I'm saying, overseas. Because at the time, like racism is at an all-time high. So they was like keeping the black guys in the gas chambers for super long during training, and you know what I'm saying, just like wild shit, like making them go pick up the dead bodies and all this other shit. So he eventually ends up kind of getting it together and going through everything. And then which I found super interesting was once he kind of got it together, the mom started breaking down because the son had ended up getting murdered. And so now she's kind of going through her thing. And I feel like that's what kind of caused that whole, you know what I'm saying, like kind of caused the whole supernatural thing to be able to attack them. Was because, you know what I'm saying, they had so much going on. Another thing I thought was interesting was even if you take the racial element away, this is still a show that can be pulled off through just a supernatural element, right? Because you have the dad who has to deal with being a war veteran, dealing with everything that he's seen. You got the mom who has to deal with losing a child. The dad also has to deal with losing a child. And then you have the youngest daughter who has to deal with being, you know what I'm saying, like a good girl and a good child and trying to not quote unquote be like her mom or grow up like her mom. And then you have the oldest daughter who's like in high school dealing with insecurities. And that's pretty much like all the things that they were getting attacked for from the ghost. So I thought that was a great way to add that in there too, because you basically got like two different shows meshed into one. So like even if you split that shit up, you can still do this. So season 2 comes, and like you said, we in 1991. Deborah Allende, Ayo Rende, who plays
Detective Reeves.
Reeves, but she also played Lucky in the first season. She played
she played the mom in the first season.
Yeah. So now she's playing Deborah Reeves in the second season, which I thought was another smart thing to do. Keep her in there. Shout out to her too, because she bad. So they add her, you know what I'm saying? They pretty much add her in, and we see her investigating a house. I guess it was like a missing child or something. No, a young boy had ran away from a home. and they go investigate the home, figure out what's going on, and they end up finding out that the lady who owns the house is pretty much murdered. And one of the teenage boys that lived there was being investigated, but we end up finding out that her house is like a foster home or whatever, which a lot of kids went through and stuff.
Been recycled through that house.
Yeah. So they see the murder, and the lady is like folded up into a ball and stuffed under the kitchen sink. Which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing too. They do a great job of adding like those horror elements. You know what I'm saying? Like certain things that are like make you jump and shit. They do a great job of that too. So starting off season 2, what's some of your thoughts?
It was very interesting to start it because when you think of, well, depending on who you are and how much history you know, whatever, to start the season off showing the Rodney King beating and then putting up 1991, you're like, oh shit, okay, I see what type of move we in. So it started off there, which was genius because she's a detective. You know what I'm saying? With the racist Los Angeles PD, and not only that, we hear I just had his name in my head, and oh man,
Mark Furman.
No, the guy that was police chief. I literally had it. No, it wasn't that. Damn. Anyway, so you know, so you bring that in and you see, okay, so she's working for the, you know what I'm saying, the racist LAPD, and so she goes to this house and, you know, she pulls out she went into the house and she got the tape recorder and she's saying everything that she sees, which I guess that's something that kind of helped her to go back and replay it so she can kind of visualize it and all this type of shit. So she's going through the house, which we found out later that everything she was seeing, not everything, some of the things she was seeing was actually old memories. She didn't know yet. So I thought that part was really interesting. I like how they did the full circle on that.
Right.
But and so like to introduce it like that and tell her that she's going to be matched up with McKinney, with Detective McKinney, which she was like, I don't like working with this dude. He's racist. He's a prick. He always rushes through cases, and because she likes to, and you could tell when she was talking to, you know what I'm saying, they police chief or whatever. They was like, yo, they were like, you linger on stuff. He was like, McKinney goes in, get the job done, and it's done. And she was like, yeah, McKinney worked too fast, but everybody say you work too slow. So it's like that whole thing there and mashing them together, you know, and then he's like grilling this 16-year-old kid and really thinking that the 16, I mean, now don't get me wrong, the boy was a big boy, but there's no way this 16-year-old kid was going to fucking touch.
The way that body was folded, nah, fam.
Yeah, and like there's no way that the boy could have did that. So McKinney, he's going in like that. And so what I thought to start the show that way, like you have to understand, like, yo, I don't know what that was that did that, but you know what I'm saying? We have to, which when you a cop, you really don't supposed to let outside influences in. Because I can see how it can be hard to try to say it's some supernatural shit going on here, because you have to have logical answers for everything. That's why
nobody's gonna believe that.
Yeah, nobody's gonna believe that. Just like The Devil Made Me Do It. Like that was the first time that they used quote unquote demonic things in a trial, because we was like, yo, we can't sit back and say shit like The Devil Made Me Do It and fucking say not guilty. Like, because everybody's going to start saying The Devil Made Me Do It. So, you know, you can't really add supernatural shit to cops, but she was finding a way to see, like, yo, and even she didn't turn, you know what I'm saying, until about 6 episodes in, where she was like, yo, like, there's something freaky going on here. Like, there's something that literally don't make sense. And I think it wasn't until the Hispanic kid where his family was trying to give him an exorcism.
Yeah.
Because they knew, like, yo, this whatever's happening to him is not
something right.
So they was trying to get him an exorcism, and they was doing it, but Reese, she was outside, and so she heard the scream, so she went in, grabbed the boy, and was taking him to the hospital, and then we see the shit happening to him, and there's nobody back there.
Mm-hmm.
So she really had no choice to be like, yo, wasn't nobody back there with old dude.
Yeah, some shit going on.
Yeah, so there's some shit going on here that's not normal. And I think that anytime you see, I'm glad that she was able to come out on the good end because she was under investigation. Now, they did give her the benefit of the doubt because I think the only reason they did it was because she is a cop, whether they wanted to do it or not. But they knew with the whole, and that's why the whole Rodney King shit ties into it too, because they was dealing with the aftermath of that.
Yeah. And
they was like, if we fire her, then they're gonna be like, well, why y'all didn't fire the 5 dudes that beat Rodney King? So they kind of had to keep her on because they was like, we can't do nothing with her right now because we got this Rodney King stuff going on.
And see, that's a very, very interesting element of this too, right? Because knowing that everything that was going on, especially around the time of 1991, they're also the chief is also dealing with the protests and the backlash and everything else like that. So this is something that's constantly coming up when anything is happening. He's like, yo, I already got brass down my back about this Rodney King situation. I need y'all to like really be on it. That way we don't have to worry about this shit. So I thought that was an interesting input for them as well.
And also to put in the shit in there, like when she was trying to get the whole parking spot, and she was like, "Yo, you blocking my parking spot." And he said something. He called her a bitch. I can't remember what else he said. He said something. Yeah, and so then he, you know what I'm saying, peels off. Then you got the whole situation of McKinney, you know what I'm saying, calling her a cunt to her face. Like, you know what I'm saying? Why you gotta act like a cunt and all this type of shit? Like, so it was showing you like all of the disrespect that she had to go through just to be a fucking detective. And then her reasoning of even being a detective, because what we found out later, a person that she thought was her father turned out not to even be her father, but she basically wanted to kind of follow his footsteps. So for her to go in there, but then like her mom, quote unquote mom, says, you know, you always like to solve things. So basically she's like, it doesn't surprise me that you became a detective because you like to solve things. So I thought that her character was, she was my second favorite character throughout this whole shit. And the only reason Edmund is my fucking favorite is this simply because it kind of like we get like this build up. I think his character development was so fucking dope in this show. Because you see this person, and you know he's working at this basically like their version of Chuck E. Cheese, and he's back there trying to hype himself up, and then he just go out there and he's dancing with this fucking Chuck E. Cheese outfit on. So then he goes to a fucking audition, which is the worst audition I've ever seen in my life.
Facts.
He tries to play a black gangster.
Man, listen. the audition is one of the best scenes in the show. He is so unbelievable as a gangster in this show. I don't even know why he thought that was going to go across as good.
Give it to me, motherfucker.
Yeah, like, what was that? Break yourself. Like, what? Like, bro, the way he played that shit was hilarious. I'm like, bro, like, you should know that you're not gonna get that. First off, he had the do-rag on wrong, like all that shit. Like, you can tell this was not his life at all. Nothing about that was believable.
Yo, when you have a white woman tell you be more aggressive or something.
Come
She was
on,
saying,
bro. She was
yo,
like, yeah, can you just like be more gangster? He was like, he looked at her like, bitch, this is as gangster as it gets. Like, I don't have nothing else. This is all I got. That shit was hilarious, bro.
So he's walking out, and the receptionist got a little thing for him or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just a super nice guy, but even in his tone of voice, you know, you listening to him when he just talking, it's like, you know, you kind of thinking like, all right, you know, maybe his parents supposed to have him in this private school or something because, but then he works at this fucking fake Chuck E. Cheese. So it's like,
yeah,
you know, you're trying to put it together. Then you see my man go to this function, and he calls his white guy dad. You're like, okay,
it makes sense.
So now, yeah, it makes sense now. It's like, okay, now all this shit makes sense. But I think what the turning point for Edmund was the old girl that worked as a receptionist, because like, yo, I got this perfect role for you. She's like, I know it's not really no such thing as like black serial killers, but there's a serial killer a role that's coming up that I think is good for you. So now he shifts his
perfect role for this moment.
Come to find out.
Well, no, I'm talking about before we even find out that's what this nigga was doing. He looked like he killed people. Like he looked like one of them weird serial killer motherfuckers, man.
Oh man, with them glasses and no facial hair. Oh man. Bro. So he develops his own character, his own version of this person. And so she comes over for dinner, and my man says, yo, I gotta go to the bathroom. Go to the bathroom, you know what I'm saying? Get himself all done up, and then come back like in character.
Yeah.
Like he's about to kill this bitch.
Yeah.
She's crying, pleading for her life. And then he just break character. Man, you did awesome. You know, like, how did I do? She's like, what the fuck? She's like, motherfucker, you scared the shit out of me.
Yes.
Like, now, granted, he killed that shit.
Yeah.
If she was really ride or die, she would have been like, yo, you about to kill this right now. Granted, if he would have, this is the thing. He couldn't tell her what he was doing because there was no way to sell it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if that shit happened to you in real life, like, how do you really take that? Like, we can't really speak from a woman's, you know what I'm saying, perspective.
I feel you, but as a casting director, a motherfucker pop out like that.
She was a receptionist, but
I mean, still. But I'm just. Oh, you talking about when I was in the house?
Yeah, I'm talking about when they was in the house.
Yo,
like I wouldn't know how to take that.
Fam, don't pop out on me like that. Okay, in the house, I know you're talking about now. Don't pop out on me like that, nigga. We not acting right now. First and foremost, this is supposed to be a date, nigga.
Yes.
Like, get your weirdo ass back in the bathroom and bring up the motherfucker who walked in there. The fuck kind of shit is that? Why are you showing me this? I can't. I got you the role, nigga. I got you the opportunity for the audition.
Yeah.
You gonna pop out and do this shit to me? You know what? Fuck this date. I'm going home. I'm not cool with this shit no more. Cause if you this weird, I don't want to be around you. Stay the fuck away from me, man. That's crazy. Like if a chick come out the bathroom doing that shit, nah, this shit over with. Go ahead, pack your shit up, sweetheart. You got to go home. You got to get the fuck up out of here with that shit.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking. Now, was he believable? And then he flipped that switch? Yeah. But it still was something odd about it where she was just like, she just had that feeling like.
It was too believable.
It's too believable. You're too in it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So she took it as, yo, don't even let Edmund go out for this role because I have a feeling he's too, like, this shit is gonna go too far.
Now that I didn't like. Don't be no motherfucking hater though.
That's what. Yeah. See, I didn't like that part either because at the end of the day, I can understand him being upset because he's like, "Yo, you told me I would be good at this role. You just was fucking
You
about to
better
have a
shit
heart attack
yourself.
at my house. Yeah, you about to have a heart attack at my house.
You should have left there and went there like, hey, this motherfucker is amazing. Scared the shit out of me. I don't know about y'all,
Yeah.
but I'm convinced.
Yeah, she goes in there and blacklists my dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yo, don't even let him go out for this role.
Yeah.
Now, what I didn't mention when he was doing the whole little, you know what I'm saying, tried to be gangster, the black dude that's filming the audition is literally laughing in this dude's face.
Yes.
like this is terrible. It would have been
There's
hard
no
not to
way
laugh
he
though.
really believes in. No, he should have laughed because there's no way he really believed that he was doing a good job. Come on, man.
So he seen the dude walk her out one night after that audition.
Mm-hmm.
So then after they wouldn't even let him audition for the serial killer role, like, dude, he was so believable. He came in character with everything on, walks up and see a dude, look at the dude. Dude look at him like, yo, you can have the seat. You can go in there next because yo, you done took this shit way too far.
Yeah.
So my man get up with him not even saying anything. And so they come up on Edmund and tell him, yo, you can't go for this role. And so he fucking goes off on girl, which you know, I understand because I would be upset too. Because you know, you told me I would be good. Okay, maybe, I mean, personally, I would never do this. But let's say I did. Like, did I overstep at my apartment? Yes. Maybe that wasn't the best time to do that. Or at least I should have told you, yo, I got, you know, something in mind that I want to do.
Yeah, no, I'm turning this whole thing around. If I can't audition, you can't work here no more. So you mean to tell me because we ain't smashed, we ain't get to have that date, you gonna do me like this? Nah, man, nah. See, you should have never said it. You should never gave me that script. You should never. I'd have snitched all on it.
I would have snitched on one because that part was messed up, and so that was from the outburst at his adopted parents' house. You know what I'm saying? Well, the father wrote this book and put everybody in the book, but didn't put him in the book. Yeah. But he was saying that everything that he was writing down was relating to his life at the time. Yeah. So he's upset with that. And then with the whole thing where the father was like, "Yo, like," what he told the father, like, "I need help," and he basically tell him, "Go get a therapist or something." Like, basically, I don't want shit to do with you. Like, I seen, you know, a change in you when you was 12 years old, and I don't want nothing else to do with you. Now, the mom tried to invite him in, but the only reason she tried to invite him in because she wanted him away from all of the other people that was, you know what I'm saying, in the backyard. And it's like, so they turned on him. You know what I'm saying? The old girl turned on him. And then he got, so he was, it seemed like he was about to end it there. But got the phone call, and because he was looking for his sister. Right. And he got the phone call, and they was like, "Yo, we found your sister," and all this type shit. And so it shows him go over to his sister in '89. Goes over to his sister in '89, and you know, what's the Munch Chomper name in there? I forgot.
Corey.
It was what?
Corey.
Oh, Corey. So fucking Corey opens the door. He's like, you know, you the neighbor live next door? So he fucking goes, which was stupid as fuck. To just go along with that shit. And
so he like, nah, nigga, I'm your brother-in-law. What's up?
Yeah, like, what the fuck? Why would you go along with this whole, I'm the neighbor? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so she having a conversation with him, and I guess he kind of froze. And so she started to, you know what I'm saying, go straight detective mode on him. Word. And so she's like going detective mode on him, and then I think he kind of gets scared, and then he kind of like, you don't remember me. And so I think that was really one of the biggest turning points, because, well, another turning point for him, because I said the character development on Edmund is dope as fuck to later find out that he was that that figure with the red hair because it kind of, in a way, explains how he got there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because you was mentioning earlier when you mentioned Jason and Michael Myers and shit.
Yeah.
We don't know how they necessarily got there. Like, there's no like origin story to them. It's just one
Jason,
day. I mean, Jason, we got somewhat of one simply because, all right, y'all killed my mom. I'm gonna kill anybody who come to Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
But and also he couldn't swim and he drowned.
Yeah.
But like Michael Myers just goddamn put on a mask and murdered Judah butt naked for no reason. Like,
man, he was tired of living in a house full of women.
You know what I mean? Like we don't know like what necessarily was going. Like we don't know what was the lead up.
Yeah.
For Edmund, not saying that it's right. I'm just saying we seen the lead up that kind of explains like, oh shit, now I see how this dude can fucking kill himself.
His whole character is dealing with rejection the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Dealing with failure the whole time. You know, he working his dead end job that he really don't want to mess with, but he trying to make the best of it. But he working his job because he need the background of entertainment. So he doing that. Then he trying to, you know what I'm saying, be an actor, and that fell through. And then, you know, he go back to ask his adopted family for help. And then they, like you said, they turn on him. He go to meet his sister. She like, you know what I'm saying? Well, that's kind of his fault.
Well, she don't remember him.
Yeah, but that's kind of his fault too, though.
Yeah, it is his fault because he was expecting her to remember.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? Like that I think that part could have been handled differently on his end. That's really the only thing I kind of blame on him. And the situation with old girl, I kind of blame on him too, because my nigga, you fucked that all up. Like,
yeah,
you could have just talked to her like, yo, I got this character in mind and da-da-da. Nigga, you ain't have to go full character on her. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But I agree, man. I think that Edmund's character is really just like the focal point of this whole thing. I mean, I know it's not, but it kind of is to me. I think he's the focal point of this whole thing because, of course, he ends up being the monster and he ends up being the one that hunts the family and everything else. But because of everything that he went through and because of the situation that he was dealing with and because of some of the things that he did, it ends up culminating into him having to deal with the, you know what I'm saying, being a weak link and having to deal with the family trauma as we end up finding out, you know what I'm saying, what ends up happening. So he ends up unaliving himself. And throughout this whole time, he's beginning to hear voices and see things and so on and so forth. And we figure out why he did it because, you know what I'm saying, he basically was set up in a way by the ghosts and shit. So once that happened, his soul is basically taken and he becomes a life-size Raggedy Ann doll. And
a big ass version because the monster version was, you know what I'm saying, about a little taller than he was, and you know, it's swoller, but
for sure,
but also to for you to finish your point, where he actually took a life. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The dude that was recording him walked the old girl out. He kidnapped him, and when he got away with a hood on and ran into that pole.
Crazy.
But anyway, he had video. See, he remembered all of the trauma that he went through as a child.
Mm-hmm.
But Don's mom kind of in a way kind of brainwashed her in a way into telling her that those memories of that other kid that was your imaginary friend.
Yeah.
So she didn't remember. But
which is weird though. Because well, I'm not gonna say it's weird, but like that's some like heavy duty brainwashing. For you to have these vivid ass memories of things that's going on and somebody just constantly telling you, no, that didn't happen. That's just your imaginary friend. You just making that stuff up. You just think that's what happened. That's not what really happened. No, that's not. Yo, if a motherfucker keep telling me that, a kid or not, I'm gonna be like, hey man, this shit is real, bro. Okay? All this imaginary friend shit. I had an imaginary friend as a kid too. I couldn't tell you what the nigga looked like. I couldn't tell you if he was a boy or a girl. She's super descriptive. Like, nah, it was a little nigga about my height, looked like me. Like, the fuck are we talking about? Like, you know, and the fact, like, and that's why I said, like, the way that they brought this around, like, now you understand why she was able to even, you know what I'm saying, like, able to even forget about that kind of stuff, because we know who she is now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We find out that they were given away by their mom, and then the lady that they were given away to was the foster lady. And then eventually Athena was the one who, Athena and her husband took in both of them, but ended up giving Edmund away and kept Don. So
after the husband died.
Yeah, after the husband died, because she couldn't kind of wrangle Edmund in.
Well, and she felt that he was the reason, because when she told the story, when the husband died of a heart attack, Edmund was sitting there holding the pills in his hands.
Right. Even though he was a little ass kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was weird. But anyway, so the mom works at like this toy store or whatever. And you know what I'm saying, they get this shipment and it's a box full of Raggedy Ann dolls. So she see that shit, she like, nah, we can't have this in the store. She throws these shits away. So the owner come back, she like, yo, why is this shit in the trash can? She like, no, you can't sell these here. She like, bitch, this is my store. I can sell whatever fuck I want to sell. What are you talking about? We know you done been here for a while, but you pushing it. So she basically ended up letting her go. Some shit happened. Come to find out, go back to the toy store, and Edmund ends up killing her at the toy store. Don goes to the scene of the crime and sees that, you know what I'm saying, Athena is pretty much out of there. She's dead. And then we start to get well, before that, we get the story that Athena tells her about everything that kind of happened, because she ends up finding out that Athena ain't her real mom, and then she told her the story. She understands what she went through, so now she's really into this case now, because she used to be in this foster home. The lady in the foster home is dead. She's trying to figure out what happened. It's rumors that the lady was real abusive. The foster lady was real abusive to all the kids, so on and so forth. And some monster is basically going around and killing these people. And the one thing that I was confused with is how did this, and I think this is the only thing for real, but the little boy, like, how was he connected to any of this shit?
You talking about her son?
No, the little Hispanic boy that ended up dying. Like, how was he connected to any of that shit?
See, that's the only one that stood out. Yeah. Because she never had an other than when they went to the. But the thing is, the boy was already having the shit, and those two Korean girls.
Mm-hmm.
Remember?
Yeah.
Them too. So I don't know what those three people ended up having to do. The only thing I could think of, well, I know what they said with the Korean girls. They said something about how they was twins.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of made it seem like, because Don and Edmund was twins.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like this twin thing, because you hear stuff, from the folk years or whatever you call that shit, where there's like an evil twin. Like there's some shit, way back in the day where they would say one of the twins would be evil. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but the Hispanic boy, I don't know what that had to do with anything.
Yeah, that was confusing.
Because I don't think that he was ever adopted or anything. I don't know if that house that they was living in had anything to do. Mm-hmm. Like I just don't get how they tied into the story. I don't know if he was just trying to build his resume. Maybe that's what it was.
Because remember, he was attacking his nephew, Kale. Kale was was going through the things too, because remember he was having the hallucinations and he was in the band, and when they was doing the big performance, he had seen Edmund coming down the stairs chasing him, and he freaked out about
was
that.
crazy.
That was wild. You know what I'm saying?
That was
So
a wild ass scene.
absolutely. And then the time after that was at the house, and he was seeing the hallucinations and stuff in the house. And then Athena started seeing the hallucinations and stuff too, which she ended up getting killed after that. And then basically Don was like, all right, I gotta fight this. I gotta figure out what the fuck is happening. And basically she went and did that. And she went through this whole thing where she ends up seeing the situation with Ruby, which ended up being her mom, giving them away to the lady, and then you know what I'm saying, she's chasing them out, and then she ends up basically fighting at the end and pretty much winning. So we think, at least.
Well, what he was trying to do was he was trying to bring her in, and he wanted them to tag team the shit. Like he wanted them to be together in that quote unquote afterlife, and just basically terrorize people together.
Right.
And I don't think that would have had, you know, I don't think that, like in Candyman, right? So he was building up. Well, what we found out in the new one was there was different versions of Candyman.
Yeah.
Because they ended up showing us in versions, but Daniel Remini was the original, and then there were two more that ended up, you know, developing or whatever. So I don't know if it would have been a thing where, like, they was trying to, because I think with all things, like whether it's Candyman or Bloody Mary or something like that, I think that what it was, this is just my opinion, I don't know for sure, I think it was like kind of a building up a resume to get people, like to get the word out of like, yo, there's this scary guy with red hair, you know what I mean? Like you see him, you done type of thing. Like I don't know if it was that, and maybe they went into different cultures.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Korean and Hispanic.
Right.
With the other people. So you had black people covered, Hispanic, and Asian. And
ooh, you know what? Now that I think about it, I forgot. The Korean girls were the daughters of the store owners where Athena worked. So that's that connection.
It was?
Yes, I totally forgot about that.
Okay.
I totally forgot about that. So that's that connection. Now the Hispanic boy, I don't remember, but I remember that the two girls was the daughters of the family that owned the toy store. Gotcha. So that's where that is. And
okay, yeah, you know what? You're right, because they came downstairs because their apartment was above the store.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was that.
Yeah. But
where we? Oh, so Dawn basically she fixes everything. She gets everything back to normal. Defeats Edmund, and toward the end we see the one guy who was, I don't know what he was called originally, but the one ghost that was with Henry in the first season. And at first we just see a silhouette, and we see the hands drop, and then we see the fingers missing, so we already know who it is. And then he walks into the room and he do the what you gonna do thing, and then you know what I'm saying, they cut off from there. So what do you think this next, if there is a season 3, where do you think that would lead like this season 3 to? Because what I'm thinking is Kel is the son, right? So maybe it goes into him. Maybe it deals with something that, you know what I'm saying, like stuff that he got to deal with. But I'm trying to think. Maybe it deals with his kids.
I think the way they plan it, because you go from the years that they were, where they started out with, to in this one, you have 1991,
Mm-hmm.
and we're currently in 2024. So it's
Right.
kind of like, you know what I'm saying? It could be a situation where it is Edmund's kids,
Mm-hmm.
and
Wait, Edmund didn't have no
maybe
kids?
not Edmund. I'm sorry, not Edmund. What's his name?
Kale.
Kale.
Yeah.
Kale. Maybe it's Kale kids,
Mm-hmm.
but in a more modern time. But maybe Raggedy Ann character is his mom, because the thing is, when they fucking when she was saying that, you know, I can defeat you, you ain't real, whatever she was saying, I forget what she was saying in that instance, and he kind of did the whole breaking of the bones thing and kind of died out. Her version of the Raggedy Ann version just disappeared.
Right.
It wasn't necessarily destroyed.
Yeah.
His was destroyed in a way. He basically got what he did to other people,
Mm-hmm.
which that Raggedy Ann version of her did that to him.
Right.
But her version just disappeared. So I'm thinking that Kel is going to always have that in the back of his mind, where,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, all of the trauma that he went through when he was in high school, of this, you know, this person with his red hair attacking me and all of this stuff. I think it's going to be the same way of his real grandmother.
Yeah.
When she handed the baby off, because she said she didn't want her trauma to follow her kids.
Right.
I think that it's going to be the same situation where that trauma is going to always be in his mind. Maybe he don't necessarily give them up for adoption, but maybe it's a thing where when you hit a certain age, you know, kind of like, I know this is fake, but kind of like in Halloween, right?
Yeah.
When Michael Myers killed Judith, she was 17. When Michael Myers went after Lori, she was 17.
Yeah.
When Michael came back in H2O, like Lori's son, Josh Hartnett, was 17. So maybe, now I don't remember how old his grandmother, I don't know how old his grandmother would have been when she went through all that shit where her dad worked.
Well, she would have had to be around the same age as her mom.
She was in high school.
No, when they went through it, she was in high school.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
When she went through it, she was in high school. Kale is in high school.
Right.
So maybe when Kale kids are in high school,
that's when something will pop up.
Yeah, maybe it'll resurface. Maybe there's a certain age group that you have to be for this shit to happen. So I just made up some shit off the top of my dome. I'm just fucking freestyling.
That was nice. See, I'm thinking the same thing, right? Like Kale goes to college, meets a girl, you know what I'm saying? They do their thing, and then it comes back to hunt him. You feel what I'm saying? But I think like he's the one that ultimately ends it all. Like he finds a way to end everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because now, you know what I'm saying, they about to have a kid, or they do have a kid, the kid getting older, you know what I'm saying, something like that. And then now we see that, because remember, we didn't even know that Ruby was the parent. So now, like with this one, I don't think that they'll redo it to where or they might not even have Kel. They might do it to where it's like later on, like his kid or like his grandkids go through it or something like that.
Well, nah, because that'd be too far. Because if he's a teenager in 91, he can have a child, you know what I'm saying, in 96, but that's
what I'm saying. So I would say maybe 2000 is where he would have a kid.
Yeah.
And then they can make it modern, because they jump from what, the 60s or 70s to 1991.
Yeah, but they touched. So they was in 91. They touched 89, and they touched 70 something.
Right.
So yeah. So it could be a situation. Now there still would be two.
So it
We
wasn't the
both a
60s,
little
it was
off.
the 50s, 60s. It would have
Yeah,
to be the 50s, 60s.
and he would have to have a kid closer to 2010 because 2000 the kid would be 24. Well, depending. Well, if this season just came out this year, it's not. They probably won't be able to do another until at least
Right. So
2025,
then
26.
it would probably be, if let's say 2000, it would be what, maybe
2012,
2015, 16.
2015. Yeah,
Yeah, so that would be more in that vein. You feel what I'm saying? Because that'd be a night from 91 to 2015 is a nice little gap. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like from the 40s and 50s to 91, that's what, 40, 50 years.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Or 40 years. So then even if they did it, you know what I'm saying, 30 years down or whatever from 91, that would be what, 2000 and shit. That would be close to this. So maybe 2018, 19 or some shit.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's still a way to bring it up to like modern times and then do something
And
that way too.
and to keep the race factor, so they used the job where dad was an engineer, right, and the neighborhood basically.
Yeah.
And this one they use the cop part. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
With
Rodney King. They could use the protest.
politics.
Yep.
Use politics this time.
Okay. I like that.
Just saying, man.
Maybe he
So
go to be a
out there.
politician. Maybe he go to be a politician, and you know what I'm saying, something like that. Because what if he doing that? Then that would have to be, so 91. He in high school. Let's say he what, freshman? No, let's say he like a sophomore. Because I don't think he was no freshman.
Yeah, he was somewhere around there.
So he probably would have graduated in 93, 94.
Yeah,
And he probably would get out of college in like 98. So around like 2000, you know what I'm saying? He's probably starting off being a politician or starting off his roots in politician work. And then by what, 04? Because I'm trying to think, 04 is, no, Obama was 08, right?
yeah, Obama was 08. Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be crazy. Like he working on like Obama's cabinet or something.
Yeah.
Hey man, it's some stuff you could pull off. It's a lot of stuff you can pull off. I mean, they still got the protests. You know what I'm saying? From the cop killings, they could do it around that time when we was getting all the cops murdering black guys and black people.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? We could do that. So I mean, it's a bunch of stuff they could do around those times that would definitely do it. And maybe he, like, I don't know, like a new mayor or some shit like that.
Yeah, something local.
Yeah, for sure. That would be interesting, man. But okay, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up, man. Let's go into Fire Flames.
Let's do it.
Yoga Fire, Yoga Flame.
All right, man. So what you got?
All right, man. I don't know much of the cast. I watched some things with Luke James in it. Pam Grier, obviously a legend out here in these streets. But I mean, the cast wasn't super dope, but I think that everybody did their job in it. Even though it ain't the hugest names, but I think everybody did a really, really good job at what they done. I think Luke fucking murdered this shit. I just feel like it's slept on. I think it's really, really slept on. But I like this season better than the first season. And man, honestly, I'm gonna give us a 4.5, man.
Okay.
I think they did a really, really good job with the story, and I just feel like the development of Edmund was phenomenal. I think they did a great job with writing that character. So I'm gonna give it 4.5, man.
That's what's up, man. So the cast for me is some notable names: Ashley Peel, Luke James, Pam Grier, Wayne Knight, Just to name a few. Anika Nani Rose was in this. Paula Jai Parker was in this. So it was some notable names in here that we've seen before for sure. I think, like you said, man, they did what they was, saying, what they needed to do. It was necessary. Nothing too over the top. Nothing where you looked at it and was like, hold on, wait a minute. I know this ain't who I think it is. But it was nothing too over the top. Okay, never mind. I thought I seen Franklin Mama in there. Boy, I was about to say never mind about all that. But anyway, so they did a great job. The stories were amazing. I think that the writing by Little Marvin was spectacular. Like I said, this was a breath of fresh air, very creative, and everybody knows how I feel about that. We need way more creativity, in Hollywood, and I think this was definitely a breath of fresh air. Luke James, hell of a job. I forgot what his name was. Ashley something. I forgot what they said his name was. But Ashley Thomas, he did a great job playing Henry. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I was glued in. I enjoyed the first season more than I did the second season. But I'm gonna have to give this a 4. You know what I'm saying? Only because I think that the second season, it could have been a little bit more in tune with how the first season was. And I think they kind of like shaved off a little bit in that second season with as far as like the just that hard hitting, presence that it brought in that first one. Because the first one, like I said, the first season is super polarizing. The second season, I think, because of how great the first season was, everybody kind of got on board in the second season. So you didn't kind of get that. And I don't think it really brought anything to where somebody would watch it and be like, I don't really fuck with it. So hopefully that third season brings back that same aggressiveness that first season had, if they do get a third season. Hopefully so. But yeah, I'm gonna go 4.
Okay, I'm not mad at it.
All right, let's go to the coming soon.
Coming soon to own on video and DVD.
All right. This next one is role play. Is that the right one?
Yeah, and it's so funny because putting that in there, I thought I remember what it meant. But I forgot.
I have no idea. I don't know what that is. So,
we're gonna have to come back.
Yeah, everybody gonna be surprised on the next.
Yeah, yes. Because I forgot what it meant.
Oh man,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so we all gonna be surprised on the next episode when we find out what role play is. You know what I'm saying? It happens, man. It happens. You know what I'm saying? It happens, bro. So if you know what role play is, go watch it. If you don't,
well, no, I know it's not a movie. It's not a movie. It's something like I don't remember what it was. It's not a movie though. It was one of those it's like one of those ideas that we had.
Oh, okay.
It's an idea.
I know exactly what this is. Okay, now that you say that, I know what it is now. This is where so basically we are going to talk about films or shows where we think that people had the best roles. We're going to talk about people that we feel like should have had the role. We're gonna talk about maybe switching the roles. You know what I'm saying? Like just seeing which, you know what I'm saying? Just talking about some of the best roles that we've seen, some of the worst roles that we've seen, who we would have liked to seen in them. Possibly, you know what I'm saying? Just even the ones that we did, like if we think somebody else would have been better for them, stuff like that. So that's what that is. So never mind. Don't go look for role play because that's not a TV show or movie. So that one we gonna do some freestyling on the next episode, man. So hopefully y'all enjoy that. We definitely will. And then we'll see you then, man. If you enjoyed this episode, if you didn't enjoy this episode, if you too watched them and thought that this was possibly one of the best TV shows you've seen, hit us up on the socials. Let us know. Instagram and Twitter at View9Pod. On Facebook, VA Pod Watch Group. On YouTube, you can hit us up in the comments. Speaking of YouTube, by the way, the episodes are loading up. So be on the lookout for those episodes. So if you want to watch us and if you're not on Spotify and you just want to see us, because we do have episodes that you can watch, go on YouTube, check those out. They are there, video and audio as well. And don't forget to sign up for our Patreon, patreon.com/viewersanonymous. Become a viewer and check us out behind the scenes, man, where we just basically, you know what I'm saying, chit chat about movie concepts. We talk about, you know, stuff relating to movies that we've seen. We do a little bit of everything on there, man. So make sure you guys check that out. If you like to follow me personally, you can follow me on Twitter at Scoots Bronson. I got a link tree in the bio. You can follow me everywhere else there.
Yeah, and y'all can find me at s.foster8 on Instagram, X, and TikTok. Follow the podcast 28 minutes or less. Still have putting a new material up. Scoots gave me a great idea, but I just been having a lot of things going on and a lot more things about to be going on as well. So bear with me when it comes to that podcast, but I will try to get something out very soon.
That's right, man. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, your support is greatly appreciated. There could be no us without you. And until the next episode, like they say in Hollywood, that's a wrap.
Cut.